One of the dilemmas that queer people often wrestle with is whether we can allow ourselves to remain friends with people who hold the belief that gay people are sinners, or some version of that. After much consideration, I've come to the conclusion that the answer is no. However, I write this with a hope similar to that demonstrated by Rennie Edo Lodge when she wrote Why I'm No Longer Talking to White People About Race. She did not suffer from the illusion that her book would never find its way into the hands of a white person. Rather, I believe, she wrote in the hope that the concepts contained within her book might help white readers gain a deeper understanding, or at least an awareness, of the pervasive and deadly effects of racism that exist outside of our white people's perception, hidden by our white privilege, and allow us white people to engage in conversations that do not unintentionally do further harm to people of color. I believe Edo Lodge, paradoxically, wrote the book about not talking to white people in an effort to enter into deeper, richer, healthier conversation with white people. I write this now, paradoxically, explaining why I cannot be friends with some people in order to build a deeper, richer, healthier friendship with those people. Consider this. One person says to another, I know you're gay, and I do not judge others. I leave that to God. But I do believe that homosexuality is a sin, and I do not believe I will ever change my mind. After all, I follow what Scripture says. Know that I love you, and you mean the world to me. I don't ever want to see any harm come to you. And if I can accept you with your misguided beliefs, can you accept me with my deeply felt and sincerely held religious beliefs? I truly want to be good to you. I want to be your friend. Many queer people hear some version of this from acquaintances or even family. And it's so very tempting to say yes. Nobody ever wants to walk away from a relationship where love, care, and compassion are present. It's tempting to rationalize staying in the relationship with the reasoning that if the other person is willing to compromise and accept me from their perspective with my sin of homosexuality, then I guess I should be willing to accept them with what I believe to be their erroneous belief. Okay, fine. I don't like it. It doesn't feel right. But yes, we'll remain friends. Adding to the confusion that queer people experience in these types of situations is our own lack of confidence. Deep down, in the deepest parts of our souls, we're not entirely confident that our friend or our family member is wrong. Maybe homosexuality is a sin. Maybe I am at risk of spending eternity in hell. Maybe I should hedge my bets and maintain whatever friendship is offered to me. Maybe this is the best I can hope for. If we're lacking moral clarity, if there's even a sliver of doubt in the authenticity of living a gay lifestyle, then it's easy to see why many queer people choose to remain in these relationships. Many of us within minority populations, racial, ethnic, sexual orientation, gender identity, or any of the many others, we might be in a situation within our homes or our workplace or our community where we don't have access to others like ourselves. And for that reason, there is added pressure for me to accept your invitation into a compromised friendship. It may be the case that I have no other options for friendship, and therefore rejecting your tainted offer of a compromised friendship leaves me with isolation as my only alternative. And if I'm in that situation, there's a good chance I'm going to fake it. I'll tell you that we are friends. I'll be cordial. I might even act in ways that I believe will allow you to feel more comfortable around me. I'll alter my speech patterns. I'll avoid certain topics. I'll change my body movements. My walk will be a bit more stiff. My wrists not so limp. And no curse will fall out of my mouth. I might even go further and do even more significant damage to myself. It may be the case that there is one or two others in our shared space that are like me. I might actively avoid them, and in so doing, avoid the possibility of authentic, sustaining, life-giving friendship, just so you don't feel threatened by our association, and because of my fear of letting my guard down in this space. I cannot afford to show my true colors for fear that I might confirm your prejudice, draw communal attention to my divinely ordained deficiency, and risk any form of retaliation. To be sure, I will not say this to your face. Rather, I'll acquiesce to your request for a compromised friendship. I'll put on a smiling face, a straight demeanor, and a whitewashed facade. All of that will be for show, to make you feel more comfortable and to create just enough space for me to breathe, to exist, to survive. But here, in this letter, I'm going to tell you the truth. To add some clarity to this dilemma, I need an analogy that will remove the moral ambiguity. I need a situation so horrible that it becomes blazingly evident what the correct course of action should be. My desired example has to be dramatic in order to remove the cloud of confusion, and by dramatic, I mean a scenario where we all will universally agree on the correct course of action. The first thing that comes to my mind, the most atrocious and dehumanizing crime in all of history, is the institution of state-sanctioned slavery. And if we cannot agree that there is absolutely nothing and no way to justify state-sanctioned slavery, then I need to stop here, for I have nothing more to say. But I'm going to hope that there is some hope for our species. So consider this example. One person says to another, I know you believe yourself to be a person, and I do not judge others, I leave that to God. But I do believe that your nature is inferior to mine, and that your destiny is to be of service to my kind. And I do not believe I will ever change my mind. After all, I follow what Scripture says. Know that I love you, and you mean the world to me. I don't ever want to see any harm come to you. And if I can accept you with your misguided beliefs, can't you accept me with my deeply felt and sincerely held religious beliefs? I truly want to be good to you. I hope that your skin crawled when you heard that, as much as my skin is crawling as I read it. It's horrific to think that some righteous people justified human slavery by their deeply felt and sincerely held religious beliefs. And here's the real kicker. There were chains, far more heavy, more damaging, and more durable than the chains of iron strapped to ankles and necks. The invisible chains of perverted beliefs. In addition to the physical reality of forced enslavement, the slavers deepened their crime by convincing enslaved people of these perverted beliefs. The slavers instilled internalized racism into their victims, and people who had been horrifically brutalized, stolen from their families and homes, and forced into multi-generational nightmare were also manipulated into the idea that somehow, just maybe, this was divine intention. Their victims were made to consider, maybe the slavers were right. Maybe this is who I am. Maybe this is what I deserve. Okay, fine. I don't like it. It doesn't feel right, but yes, maybe this is who I am. Standing where I am, 150 years removed from the end of state-sanctioned, institutionalized slavery in the United States, and in my white skin and full of my white privilege, I experience absolutely no moral ambiguity in stating clearly there was no righteousness, nothing redeemable in deeply felt and sincerely held religious beliefs that justified the brutalization of a people and convincing them that they were less than others. Not then, not now, and not ever. And if I truly believe that chains of oppression should be shattered whenever and wherever I find them, then I have no choice but to shatter those chains in the here and now. And for this reason, I cannot accept your righteous beliefs. Know that I'll still care for you. That you as a person, you still mean something to me, and I recognize your own intrinsic value and worth. But for my own health and well-being, I cannot pursue any kind of intentional relationship with you. As long as you choose to hold beliefs that deny any part of my full humanity, whether it's because of the shade of my skin, whom I love, or how I understand, experience, and express my very self. No, I'm sorry. We cannot be friends.